As broker owners, we know the ground has shifted with National Association of Realtors settlements and MLS compensation rule changes still fresh in everyone's mind. We know we can't afford to operate like it's business as usual. You know as well as I do, it's time for the co-op, the sharing of commissions between listing and buyer agents to end. But what comes next? In this video, I'll break down a roadmap to not only preserve trust with consumers, but also elevate our buyer agents, help them protect their compensation, and set our brokerages apart. Let's start with the elephant in the room. Tying buyer agent pay to listing agents' compensation is just no longer sustainable in the eyes of the public. In my opinion, the best way to avoid future lawsuits and potential intervention by the Department of Justice is for listing agents to just stop negotiating buyer agent compensation. It's not their job anyway. Here's my take on it. Part of the reasons for the Sitzer-Burnett and Moral lawsuits were a lack of transparency and neglecting to explain to sellers how co-ops work. Bad practitioners told the seller that they charge X commission and would be sharing Y of that with the brokerage firm whose agent brought the buyer. Sellers believed they had no say in the matter when of course they did. Or worse, listing agents basically threatened sellers, saying no one will show your house to their buyers if I don't pay them Y%. Listen, let's just agree that listing agents shouldn't be negotiating compensation for anyone but themselves. The solution, well, break the connection between the listing compensation and a buyer's agent's fee. Decoupling buyer and seller agent compensation means at a minimum having agents structure their listing contracts to cover their fee without a co-op to a buyer's agent's brokerage firm, even if their contracts allow it. By separating the two fees, we reinforce that sellers are fully in control of how much, if any, compensation they wish to contribute towards a buyer agent's fee. But does this mark the end of buyer agent commissions? Here's what we're experiencing in Colorado Springs: little to no change. My agents and I have not experienced any radical change in buyer agent commissions in the past year. Have you? Put your comments below and share your experiences. Because in markets where this model is already in place, where sellers are deciding how much to compensate their listing agent and the buyer's agent individually without listing agents sharing their commissions, well, consumers actually respect the transparency. Whether it's because sellers understand that buyer agents bring buyers to their home, and that is a huge value, or they see that paying a buyer's agent is a marketing expense, just like builders do. Well, the outcome is really the same. Buyer's agents are being compensated for the value they bring to the transaction. Namely, that agents are bringing buyers, and those agents are instrumental in getting deals to the closing table, even when those agents aren't working for the seller, just like they always have. The linchpin in this process is the listing agent. It's in the listing agent's best interest to sell not only their value, but the value of buyer agents, because in those cases when they bring the buyer, well, their compensation needs to also increase to handle the extra work. So how should listing agents explain all this? Here are the 3 scenarios I recommend listing agents discuss with their sellers. First, the listing agent negotiates a fee for their work representing the seller. As your listing agent, I will not only be mitigating risk for you, but also managing your real estate transaction with full fiduciary responsibility. I've explained my detailed marketing plan and will be completing close to 180 tasks to help you accomplish your goals. I charge X% or X dollars for my services. By the way, the 180 tasks cited here comes from NAR's 179 ways agents who are realtors are worth every penny of their compensation. So here's a great exercise for your listing agents. Have them refuse review NAR's document, and customize it to their business model. When I followed my own advice, 179 tasks transformed into 239. And it's not about reducing what agents do to a numbered list, but impressing clients with the amazing volume of activity that goes into being their agent. When we say words like fiduciary responsibility and risk mitigation, sellers don't really get how hard their agent works, especially because so many agents don't share what they're doing on a daily basis. Coaching like this is such a great idea because it also helps improve agent competency. If you want more ideas that create meaningful, supportive relationships and increase agent aptitude, get my new free guide, 7 Ideas to Ensure Agent Competency, linked in the description below this video. Okay, next, the listing agent discusses what they charge if they have to manage both sides of the transaction, working with both the seller and a buyer. If I also have to manage a buyer for you, well, that's another 100 plus tasks on my plate. When I work with buyers, I negotiate a fee with them of Y% or Y dollars for my services. Therefore, if I need to manage your needs and the buyer's needs in the same transaction, I charge Z% or Z dollars. Lastly, sell the value of a buyer agent. If another agent brings a buyer for your property, that's a huge benefit to you, Mr. or Ms. Seller. Frankly, it's a best case scenario because having a skilled agent wrangling that buyer and managing all that work allows me to concentrate solely on your needs. What you choose to compensate a buyer's agent is completely up to you, but expect to negotiate directly with a buyer's agent when discussing their fee. Then take the seller back to when they bought their home. Remember when you bought this house? Were you looking at paying a down payment and earnest money, loan closing costs, inspections? Did you have the benefit or the help of an agent? Would you have been able to afford to purchase this home if you had to also pay your agent? Think of how many buyers for your house now may be in the same boat. Do you want to limit the pool of potential buyers by only considering offers from those who could afford to pay all of those fees themselves? To sum up, listing agents should be negotiating for their services, preparing sellers about being asked to pay a buyer's agent's fee, discussing the value that a buyer's agent brings to their transaction, and setting the stage for how that decision may impact the sale of their home with specific language. Well, what do you think? I've been licensed in Colorado for over 20 years, and this process works easily here. Would it be impossible in your neck of the woods? Let's revisit those 100 plus tasks that a buyer's agent completes, because transparency without substance won't cut it. We need a standard of service buyers and sellers can count on. Best practices require defining what every buyer client gets: consultations, property tours, negotiation strategies, contract guidance, and post-closing follow-up. Here's where the fiduciary role comes into play. We all know that a buyer's agent isn't just a door opener. They're responsible for protecting clients and managing risk across the entire transaction for their client, just like listing agents. And when a competent and experienced partner is working with the buyer, well, the seller benefits tremendously. According to NAR, the buyer's agent's scope includes over 100 specific tasks. That's why agents should outline everything from initial buyer consultations to managing inspection negotiations, coordinating lenders, and troubleshooting title or appraisal issues. When all of your agents present this clearly, like a project manager showing their checklist, it reassures buyers and sellers that there's real structured value behind the commission conversation. Imagine 2 brokerages in your city. One offers a vague, "we'll help you find a home," and the other hands buyers a comprehensive buyer presentation, complete with NAR's 105 more ways agents who are realtors are worth every penny of their compensation document. Well, who do you think wins that client's trust. And if every agent in your company has this standardized practice, well, your brand's reputation just skyrockets. This isn't just about compliance. It's about creating a culture of professionalism and transparency that elevates your brokerage above the noise. The consumer is more skeptical than ever, and rightly so. How do we stand out? By proving our worth before the first contract is signed. Credibility is built on documentation, transparency, and accountability. A buyer sits down with your agent. Instead of saying, "Oh, don't worry, the seller pays me," your agent uses this script. "I'll be working for 2 to 4 months, completing over 100 activities on this project. And like any savvy business owner, I can't work for free. My brokerage allows me to negotiate their fee, which is X%. Now, there's a possibility that the seller may not pay all of that fee and that you will be obligated to pay any remainder. But I work hard to negotiate on your behalf to have the entire fee paid by someone else." This direct, confident script sets expectations, reinforces professionalism, and avoids surprises at closing. As a smaller brokerage firm myself, I understand that training can be virtually impossible to implement with limited resources. I've put together a 12-week new agent training program called Clever Agent that I use with my own newbies and offer as outsourced training to other brokerage firms. Check out the link in the description below this video for more info. Other ways to build trust and credibility are to prove value. For example, have buyer agents go through the earlier exercise and customize NAR's 105 ways to reflect how they represent buyers. Or encourage your agents to show their negotiation track record by looking at how much they've saved buyers on average by negotiating seller-paid concessions. Or have them share testimonials from other past clients. Listen, data beats promises. If an agent shows a buyer a professional presentation and market stats in the first meeting, the consumer immediately feels they're in capable hands. This builds long-term trust. And finally, let's address the question on your mind. What does this mean for brokerage revenue? Remember, credibility isn't just about today's deal. It's about future referrals, repeat business, and protecting the brokerage brand. Brokerages that train agents to handle these conversations with confidence will protect both the bottom line and brand reputation. I believe agents' compensation will stabilize, if not increase, as buyers' agents confidently secure more clients with the help of listing agents who are paving the way through honest and transparent conversations with their sellers. The best part, your agents talk to others who see your firm as unique and appealing, and with each new agent your company adds, the brokerage flourishes. This isn't the end of buyer agent commissions. It's the evolution of them. Brokerages that adapt now will come out stronger, safer, in my opinion, more respected, and more profitable. The takeaway here is simple. Clarity preserves trust. Structure strengthens professionalism. And leadership starts with us as broker owners. Decouple compensation. Define best practices. Build credibility. Teach agents to refer to themselves as project managers and risk mitigation professionals, not door openers. Get listing agents on board, and you will thrive in this new era. So, now that you know why co-ops are outdated and direct compensation is the new normal, you might be curious to know what's in the most pivotal video I've posted. Check out this next video for the inside scoop.